what's really interesting to me is if you go back and watch the game against the Ravens in the playoffs, Lamar didn't run much.
No.
They didn't take it out of the belly. I remember being on the field, Eric, and going, boy, if Lamar pulls that, he might have more. But he never pulled it. He only ran like 2 designed runs. I think their other 4 were scrambles for the 6 he was credited for. So I'm wondering, if that's going to be more a part of their game plan as well.
It could. It very well could. Obviously, it was, the defense's game plan from the Bills to slow that down, which it is each and every week. And I think one guy that could be make a major impact in this game from that perspective is linebacker Matt Milano. And he is our preemptive tapped in player for this matchup against the Ravens. I think him, he's looked great this preseason. He's looked great in training camp. I think his ability to match up as against tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, rush the passer, make those impact plays. He's going to have to flash, create those negative plays and takeaways in those big moments. And I think the matchup I'm watching with Milano for this tapped in segment is versus Justice Hill. Again, they have so many different curveballs to throw at the Bills. And one guy that has eaten against the Bills when there's those 3 linebacker sets, especially if you're talking about going against Dorian Williams in the pass game, is Justice Hill. 8 receptions on 8 targets, which is first against the Bills over the last couple of games. 85 yards, 1 touchdown, 9.4 yards after contact per reception, 5 first downs, 19.2% first downs per route since 2023. He is a curveball that they can throw out there, but the Bills have their curveball back, hopefully, in Matt Milano. And we hope that he could mitigate and prevent some of these big plays to Justice Hill, where he's the type of guy that could come out of the backfield on a check down, take that to the house. And so talk about Matt Milano, how he's looked, and how important he is to this defense, as we all know.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out MPS, who says, not to be off topic, he signed up for the cruise. Way to go, baby. We got to get Eric and Colin on the cruise coming up in May. Buffalo Football Legends cruise. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Matt Milano, I think that we saw the difference, right? And now, granted, it was not just Milano. It was Milano, Bernard, and Taron Johnson. So I'm not saying it's just Matt Milano here. But when the Bills didn't have those guys and didn't have him, in Baltimore last year on Sunday Night Football, right? Look what happened to the defense in that game. And he was a big part of it. And I say that because look at the difference he made in the actual game in the playoffs. He was the guy that batted the 2-point conversion down, the first one, if you remember that, right? And just read it really great. He's so athletic. He was the spy, Eric, on Lamar Jackson for a lot of the game. If you watch the game and just watch the replay, you'll see Matt Milano just standing there, mirroring him. He's mirroring him. And then he goes to where Lamar goes. And actually at the very end of the game, last drive, Milano, he runs towards the sidelines where Lamar is, and then you don't see him on the field anymore after that. And that's because he kind of tweaked his hamstring in that play. And he wasn't completely 100% against Kansas City because of it, but he wasn't on the field for the last several plays after the Ravens scored and even the 2-point conversion because he was the one mirroring Lamar Jackson and going after him. Remember, he did it the week before against Bo Nix, and he had him. He corralled him on a sack when Bo Nix got out of the pocket. You're like,
I love that package with him as a spy. The odd mirror where they use 3 defensive linemen. He's the 4th guy. He's we'll call it an aggressive spy. Where as soon as that quarterback leaves that tackle box, he's coming downhill and triggering. It's a perfect role for him.
No doubt. And you ask how he's looked. I just think he's looked as good as I've seen him look in a long time. Because, last year coming back from the previous year's injury, he was starting to ramp up and look really good. And then all of a sudden he has the biceps injury. Comes back last year at the end of the year after the biceps injury. And he started to really you could see him getting on that trajectory. That game against Baltimore was a really good game. And you wish you would have had him a fully 100% against Kansas City. But it wasn't the case. And I just think that he's had such a really, really great preseason in camp. I'm really excited to see Matt Milano play this year. You got to keep him healthy. I think with the new defensive line, the bigger guys they have, if they can keep, bodies off of Milano and Terrell Bernard, I just think that'll be a big benefit to both them to be able to do their job. But a healthy Matt Milano playing fast and free is an unbelievable difference. And that is no disrespect to Dorian Williams, who led the team in tackles last year. You did an incredible, great breakdown on the difference between Milano and Williams last year. And I loved it. And I always reference to people like Dorian Williams plays really fast, sometimes too fast, right? And the reason is because Matt Milano sees something and he knows it and he sees it and he trusts it. He's so good at dissecting that he gets there, that that he makes up for everything by what he sees, and he's able to get there so quickly. Dorian Williams, he might react a tick slow sometimes, or he might react a little bit too fast because he's processing things a little bit differently than Matt Milano does. And that just comes with reps and time. But Matt is one of the best that I've seen in this league in a long time.
You're right. They are, different players, and Dorian, he's a hammer too. When he comes downhill, he triggers, he brings his pads behind him. But Milano's just so much better in space right now in his career. And that's why I think your point about whether it's going to be Thompson, Shaq Thompson, or Dorian as a third linebacker is interesting against this team because of the experience of Thompson and how he's used to playing in space. And he's used to going after the quarterback if needed. He was kind of the Matt Milano of that Carolina Panthers team years ago. And so it's going to be fun to watch Milano playing out there, playing free, like you said. Hopefully the Bills' defensive front can go get the quarterback, go stop the run game, and free up Milano to play in space, to match up versus some of those Ravens skill players when it comes to not just the run game, but also the pass game. But he's going to be our tapped-in player presented by Thin Man Brewery for this game against the Ravens. Big things are brewing at Thin Man. The fan favorite Pils Mafia is getting a bold rebrand, and it's bringing back up this year with Mafia Light, Pils Mafia Light. And tomorrow night, you guys should be drinking this beer from them. It's the new Tailgate Essential. It hits different with 3.5% ABV and only 80 calories per 12-ounce can. And it drinks like water and with notes of beer. So go ahead and pick some of this up before the game tomorrow. But drink responsibly, obviously, guys. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. And I know that as fans, we're not always patient. But be safe out there at the game tomorrow night.